Hey everybody, welcome to the HERDFIT podcast with Dr. Sam Rhee and myself, Coach David Syvertsen. This podcast is aimed at helping anyone and everyone looking to enhance their healthy lifestyle through fitness, nutrition, and most importantly, mindset. All right, welcome back to the HERDFIT podcast special edition 22.2 analysis with my co-host, Dr. Sam Rhee, and a very special guest here, also Coach Adam Storms. He's really comfortable on the camera right now. This episode is brought to you by his Fit Aid, which he's going to be drinking during the episode. But guys, you guys just took on 22.2. If you cannot hear them, I can. They're still breathing heavy. They literally just got done about 15 minutes ago. And the workout is an ascending and descending ladder of 2 movements, deadlifts and burpees. So you do 1 of each, 2 of each, 3 of each, all the way up to 10. And then you go back down to 9 of each, 8 of each, 7 of each, all the way down to 1. That is, if you finish, it is a 10-minute cap, which is very fast. It's a very short cap for this workout. Real quick, Storms, how do you feel?
Lower back, but safe.
Lower back a little beat up, but he feels safe. Sam?
Same. I don't know how safe I feel, but it was definitely my lower back at the end.
Yeah, that's when this workout came out at 3 o'clock. You get a lot of texts and some messages, and you just watch some of the feedback online. And I think I had a few different PTs be like, dude, this is on the dangerous side, this workout. And a lot of people that have back issues or have had past back issues, they immediately got like that nervous tick. You guys are relatively safe with back there. You haven't really had any serious issues back there, but both you guys are, in my opinion, squatters. Like a lot of us were either pullers or squatters, and both of you guys are more squatters. And that part of it is body type, part of it's just how you've been training. What did you go into this thinking about the deadlifts?
I guess just trying to go I wanted to go unbroken at least for 5.
Okay, so the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all unbroken.
And like you just in your head, once it hits that point where you, like I said, you got to be safe. And I felt where it was just starting to burn. I was like, okay, I don't want it to pop.
Right.
So just back off for a minute and go again.
Okay. Sam?
225 for me is pretty heavy. It's something that I can do now reasonably well, but even a couple years ago, that would have been a struggle.
Yep.
So I stuck to 2s from the get-go. So I started with 1 and then 2. And then even on the round of 3, I did 2, 1.
Okay.
And the only reason I did that was because singles are safer, but I really wanted at least some of the inertia that you get, the recoil, which makes it a little more efficient.
Yeah.
So that was a compromise for me.
Yeah, that's something that everyone should put some thought into on the deadlifts. Both these guys had the same approach. They're both strong guys. They can both move 225 safely, and they both have done it several times. But even though this is the open, they both went into it saying, got to be safe. It's not worth getting hurt over, right? On this kind of, I don't want to, it's like more of like a intramural level. It's competition, yes, we're all trying to do well, but you don't want to compromise the way you've been training all year. You're safe when you train, and you want to be smart here in this environment as well. Let's talk real quick about the deadlift strategy. So these guys had a few touch and go reps. Sam had a very calculated 2 unbroken here, 2 unbroken here. Adam went unbroken all the way to 5. The thought behind doing singles, I think I gave that advice to a lot of people today that reached out, that at some point it's okay if you go to singles, but you do get some recoil, right? Rubber on rubber. There is a standard. You're not allowed to actually try to actively bounce the bar. But when you are going touch and go reps, the bar is naturally going to bounce a little bit. It's rubber on rubber. So when you do touch and go reps, all right, with any sort of inertia on the way down, that recoil at the bottom, like it does bounce off the ground a little bit. And I always kind of equate it to you're skipping 2 inches of the deadlift when you do that. So there are, in some situations, the touch and go can be easier to a point. Singles, at what point were you doing singles, Storms? In the set of 6?
No, I think it got to the set of 9.
Okay.
Where I did 5, I think 2 and then 3, or 1, 1, 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you get tired on deadlifts, where are you feeling that local fatigue? Is it quads, hammies, glutes, back, everywhere?
No, it's the lower back.
Lower back, just not much legs at all?
No, like you said, Sam and I, we squat. So
you can't see these guys' legs on camera right now, but Adam Storms has to have special pants and shorts made for his quads.
Otherwise, they're ripped.
And I've seen it in action. I've seen him rip shorts while he squats. So that's one thing I want to touch on. And when we deadlift, we do want to feel the tension in our legs as much as possible, right? And it's easier said than done, and it's easier for me to say that I didn't do it, right? But if you guys can get to a point early on in the workout, the set of 1, the set of 2, the set of 3, where you really feel like you are standing the bar up rather than picking it up. That's always a concept I try to tell myself and others, that you really want to feel like those legs are driving that bar up. And I think it can help you out later in the workout. Sam?
Yeah, I started to feel fatigue in my posterior chain and my hamstrings and glutes. And that was, to me, that felt good that I was being tired in those areas. But the problem is that starting to come down on the backside of the workout on the set of 10, 9, 8s. And I had to maintain a certain speed because I felt like at that point, it's where the rubber meets the road. A lot of people are going to start to slow down there. And if you really want to get a good score, that's where you start to really have to push, is at that 8 or 9, 8, 7. And I was like, I'm not going to effing slow down here.
Right.
So I started to back it a little bit. I was more hinging on my back. I'm going to look at my video, but I know I was rounding.
Yeah.
And that was a calculated risk on my part because I just felt like my glutes and hamstrings were just totally fried at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we're spending a lot of time talking about the deadlifts here. There's also a ton of bar-facing burpees in this workout that I think a lot of people are probably even more worried about. What was this workout more about for you guys? Which movement?
I guess deadlifts, like the burpees. I think Sam and I were talking earlier, like it wasn't too much in the motor. It was just trying not to redline on the deadlift.
Got it. Sam?
Yeah, I mean, Adam and I have pretty similar body types.
Yep.
You know, we're not really tall. Adam generates more. I mean, he packs a lot of power and he has a really good motor. And I'm like him in that way. I'm just about 20 years older and not as fit.
Had to make sure I got that out there.
But for us, the burpees, I mean, for me, it was not a huge issue. It didn't feel like an aerobic fatigue issue.
Yeah.
But it really depends on your skill set, because there are going to be people where they're going to be completely wiped on the burpees and not have too much trouble on the deadlifts. So it's going to depend on what your strength is.
So I also think there's some thought that needs to go into, like when we were talking about the leg drive moves to deadlifts, right? When you're jumping over the bar, it's not a high jump, it's not a far jump, but that tension that you come out of the burpee with either one or both legs, you're in that knee flexion position. So when you're in that knee flexion position, your weight's on your toes, your legs get tired. I don't think people realize that often on a burpee how much your legs are engaged. And then you have to go to the deadlift and you're trying to use your legs. And I think that's where, once that local muscle fatigue takes over and that the juice just isn't there, that's when it's like inevitable that your back is going to be used. So here's one thing I want to ask you guys. Do you think people should wear a belt?
Me personally, I like to be strong with or without it. So that's just me. But
you don't wear a belt that often, right?
No.
Rarely ever.
Yeah. But I mean, everyone's their own individual.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you have some previous injury or anything, or you need to squeeze your core against something, that's good.
What do you think, Sam?
I think I don't wear belts almost ever, but I think it's totally fine to wear a belt if you feel comfortable doing a bazillion burpees with a belt on.
Yeah.
You're not going to have time to take it off and put it on or loosen it and tighten it.
Right.
If you're going to wear a belt, leave it at one setting and do the workout.
Yeah.
I strongly recommend you don't adjust it in between sets. And if you feel comfortable doing that, I'm sure there are going to be some game athletes that do the whole workout with a weight belt on, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, I've done workouts like this with and without belts before, and it does impede the breathing process a little bit. And like Adam Rams and I were talking about this workout prior to you guys doing it, and we're both big like belly breathers. Like we like to suck a lot of air into our stomach as we're doing the deadlift and we're really bracing there. It's hard to do that with the deadlift while your heart rate is jacking up. So it's easy to do that in a powerlifting setting. But in this kind of workout where the heart rate isn't going to increase, I would probably recommend against it, but not for everyone. There are some people, either whether it's a past injury or that's neurological, like they need to have the belt on, probably won't make that big of a difference either way. And if you feel safer with it, just keep in mind, I always tell classes this, like the belt's not going to prevent an injury. If there's something going on in there, it's just going to kind of numb the area a little bit. So you just got to make sure that it's not doing that for you. So you guys both got into the backside, right? You guys got all the way up the ladder, and then you came back down the ladder a little bit. Sam, what set did you finish?
I finished around a 7 on the backside, and I got
into the 6s.
So I got 3 deadlifts into the 6.
And Storms, where'd you get to? Do you remember?
I was 6 deadlifts into 8.
Okay, so you guys were pretty much within probably 15, 20 reps of the workout. So, Sam, you were 161?
Yes.
And Storms, you were?
134.
So you guys can use Sam and Adam as a little bit of a reference point here if you're trying to build out a pace for yourself. I'll say this, even if it sounds bad, it's probably very few people are going to finish this workout. And that'll probably be how we end, what your prediction on that is. But these guys are pretty fit. They've been crossing for a long time. They don't get beat up by burpees. They're not going to stop at some point. And they're both pretty strong. They average somewhere between 13 and 16 reps per minute. And that's something that we should all kind of go into this workout thinking about. What goal do I want on this score? Goal score do I want on this workout? Do I want 100? Do I want 140? Do I want 180? Do I want to finish and get 200? You got to start putting some thought into how many reps per minute you got to be moving at. So if you want to finish this workout in 10 minutes, that is 20 reps per minute. The bar facing burpee is a slower movement pattern than the deadlift. So that you can kind of play the game like 4 seconds for burpees, 2 seconds for a deadlift, and that averages out to be 3 seconds a rep. That's 20 reps a minute. That does not factor in transition time. So I think that's something, if you guys really want to look into, create a goal for yourself, you can use these two guys as a reference point, 160, 130, ish, 140-ish as reps per minute. Did you guys have any sort of plan like that? This was a hard one to gauge from the outside.
Yeah, I think Nick was saying I was starting my round of 6 at a minute 30.
So
that's
starting to set a 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that first bit flies by, and then you realize what time it is.
So when you finish the set of 6, everybody, that's 20% of the total reps in the workout.
I was starting. Yeah, starting.
Right. Yeah. So you're just under that. Okay. In a minute 30. That's still pretty fast. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where it gets you. Like when you're cycling the 2 different movements, you feel good. Like you can be fresh on each one. And then when you start doing the same movement for higher reps, that's where it starts burning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sam?
I didn't know what my pace was going to be, like you said. So what I decided to do is just try not to stop moving.
Okay.
So I would just think deadlift, burpee, get up, and try not to step away from the bar on the deadlift.
Yep, that's big.
Try to stay near. So I just don't feel like you're taking rest. Of course, I'm pausing somewhere because otherwise I'd be going faster. But I wanted myself to psychologically feel like I was not stopping for anything.
Okay.
And when I looked up around 5 minutes, I was really close, so around 9 or 10, somewhere around there. So I felt like, wow, I could actually get farther than I thought I was going to get.
Awesome. Good.
But then you get down that backside and it just smacks you in the face and you cannot keep up that pace. And that's where your psychologic makeup comes into play, because if you are relatively fit, that's where you don't want to go faster. That's where you have to dig and push, because a lot of people are going to start slowing on that side.
Yeah.
And whatever you could do. And when I finally got into the 7 and 6s, that was when I started to finally go. I just can't.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's going to be so interesting to watch people on that backside, because as Adam said, you feel great. 1, 2, 3, 4, you're done in a minute. 5, 6, another minute. Yeah. And then you start to hit those high reps, and that's when it's going to be, what do you have? It's 10 minutes. You don't have time to sit there. If you sit there and rest for 15 seconds, you can kiss a really good score goodbye.
Yeah,
you're gone.
That's a big chunk of reps right there.
Yeah.
My last question, if you guys have any other thoughts, what is the over-under? You have to come up with your own over-under on people that can finish the workout in the gym. From Bison. Is it finishable? I mean, the games athletes, they barely, by the skin of their teeth on the women's side, the guys are a little quicker, which is common in burpee workouts just because of the upper body strength with the burpee. But I think I did see Noah Olson was 720, but I think you'll see a lot of female competitors sub 8 at the top end. But what do you think?
I think our gym, I'm going to put her on the spot. I think Karam is going to finish.
No. Adam did not go for a number. He went straight for the name. All right. Karam, you got some pressure on you now. I told Karam, that was like, wait, when you put up a 9-round score in that workout, people are going to be looking at you from now on.
She can go really dark, and she's got that motor, and she's very efficient. Perfect combination of the power plus the motor on that one.
Yep.
I would say 6 people are going to finish.
I think Ramson said that number too. So 6 people. All right, Bison, that challenge is for you. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, with the burpees, like warm up with a good rhythm with those. Like just find a pace that you can stay steady to hold the whole workout.
Yeah,
and
right.
for me, what worked was like I bring up one leg, and then as the other leg comes forward, it goes in front of it, and then I jump.
Yes.
And then so the other side would be the opposite foot.
Right.
There were some like as it got into the later rounds, I just started losing
concentration.
it. And so the same, if I knew if the same leg came up twice. First,
Yep.
I think it's so much better to have no 2 foot takeoff, 2 foot landing.
Yeah.
It makes it so much easier.
It's a pain in the ass.
And when you're in the middle of it, you feel freed to just be able to step 1 foot over, other foot over. It doesn't matter.
I think that was a smart call by them.
It really helps. And it allows you to focus on just moving as opposed to your technique so much.
And if you don't know what Adam's talking about with the whole like 1 foot come up out of the bottom of your burpee, like the 1 foot step up, it's something worth practicing. It's actually a great way to save the low back in this workout, because if you think about, you're going to be in that like low back flexion, hip flexion position for almost the entire workout, other than the fact that at the top of your deadlift. So it actually takes a little bit of pressure off that low back if you step up from the burpee. So if that's something you're kind of nervous about, I would do it from the start, not just when you're tired. All right. Thank you, guys. Good luck on 22.2. Go crush it.
Good luck.
Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to listen to the HERDFIT podcast. Be on the lookout for next week's episode.